New camera angle, pussy. What is up, friends? We got a new video today, man. It's been a minute since I've done one of these, but you might be wondering about the new camera angle, and that is because I've been fortunate enough to come across a Lazy Boy office chair, and I got it for an incredible deal thanks to today's sponsor, me, nigga, because I don't have a sponsor. Everything here is scripted, recorded, edited, posted by me, nigga. Blood, sweat, and tears. Hard-bodied. So today is the second episode of another series that I had started with Sonic Frontiers, and that is the real reason people hate insert game here series. And today we're going to do Tekken 8 because Tekken is my favorite fighting game franchise. I love it. I've been having a lot of fun with Tekken 8. It actually got me back into competing, and of course I've had my gripes that I've shared over the channel, some things that I want changed, but let's see what the general public thinks. And you know how this series goes, man. We're only looking for zeros because those are the people that are just so entrenched in the game and game design and critique that they're gonna have the best opinion. So we're gonna dive right into this one. Edward 4534, 2 days after the game releases, Tekken 8 is a shallow bore fest of button mashing and lackluster design. As an avid gamer, it pains me to say that Tekken 8 is nothing short of a disappointing and lackluster experience. We've already said lackluster twice, that fails to deliver on almost every front. This so-called fighting game is more like a casual button mashing extravaganza, devoid of any real depth or complexity that true enthusiasts crave. First and foremost, is this a Yappuccino? Because I'm not finna. Yeah, this is a Yappuccino. So to save y'all some time, I'm gonna read through it and then jump cut to the next part of the breakdown of this. Right. So I'm gonna read it, and we're back. Dude claims that the game is just a mash fest, which. Okay, here's my thing with fighting games in general, right? You can mash buttons in any fighting game. You might not be particularly successful, but there's nothing in any fighting game that says, oh, this guy's mashing buttons, let's disable his controller, or oh, he's mashing buttons, let's reduce the damage that he's doing. Like, that's not the case. So like, complaining about, the only people that complain about mashers are people that lose to mashers, right? So obviously the person that's mashing buttons probably doesn't know anything like frame data or mix-ups. They're just hitting things and things are happening, which is the case in any game. Like, if you touch a button, something's gonna happen. But the understanding of frame data, or at least like respecting things that look like they have a lot of block stun or look like they do a lot of damage, should come with anybody that takes this game even the slightest bit seriously. Like, mashers are gonna hit buttons. I'm telling you right now, at least in Tekken, you have a guaranteed option for that, and it's just down one. They call it the dick jab. If you're a woman, taco tap. But that will stop it stops every stance transition. So for every character, if you call it out that they're going to transition stances, just down one, stops that. If it ducks highs, if they're going for a low, 9 times out of 10, you'll trade with the low. But mashers, like, if you have any type of real experience with a game, mashers are like the least of your worries, because you can immediately tell when somebody's mashing buttons and just create space, because they're gonna do what I call fighting their way to you instead of approaching. So like, they're just gonna do like any move that causes forward momentum that brings y'all closer together, and you can just space it out. So like, I don't take anybody that complains about mashing being an issue seriously. Shout out low tier God. But we don't if you're mashing, you're gonna get your ass whooped, bro. Like that's not an issue to me anyway. Scrolling a little further up, we get Leonard86 on January 29th, 3 days after the game release. So he has a little bit more experience than our buddy Edward, right? And he says, the same shallow gameplay rehashed over and over again. This series jumped the shark decades ago. So we're gonna break this down in 2 parts. We're gonna look at the first half, which is the same shallow gameplay rehashed over and over again. It's a franchise. Like most franchises don't really veer too far from the core formula. You'll get some new mechanics, maybe some tweaks to some systems, but Tekken has always had juggles. It's had 3D movement since the 3rd game. The universal mechanics, like I said before, like orbitals, which is a low crushing attack that causes a launcher if it hits. Brian, most characters, it's up forward 4 if you're familiar with the notation in Tekken. But like things like that, jab checking, down forward 1, which is usually most characters, it's a pretty safe mid to keep people honest. It stands them up if they're ducking or they try to sidestep, it'll track. You know, it's just shit like that. Like things that have been in the game that are staples of the core gameplay that have been in this game for 30 years at this point. And the same shallow gameplay rehashed over and over again. Every game, every fighting game franchise, really every game franchise has things that it just does not change because it's fundamental to the philosophy of the game. Like Street Fighter is really neutral heavy, and Mortal Kombat is Mortal Kombat. Like, and with things like with Soul Calibur, they have moves that guard break or guard crush rather. They are neutral on block most of the time. Sometimes they're plus, but that's to make sure that, you know, there's a level of depth to pressure. So you can react to those guard break attacks, or if you want to hit buttons after it, you're usually going to be minus, so you get counter hit. And hopefully you would learn from that and don't do it again. But the same rehash shallow gameplay, like it's Tekken. What were you expecting Tekken to do in its eighth mainline version, but in its 12th game? What were you expecting different from Tekken 8 that wasn't in 1, 2, 3 tag 4, 5, 6 tag 2, 7 revolution, all of that shit? The series jumped the shark decades ago. I mean, technically, bro, we had a robot and a fucking bear in the first game, and a ninja in a suit of armor, and a kangaroo and a dinosaur and an angel and a demon in the second one. This was in 1996. The series didn't jump the shark. It started in the fucking air. Like that, this is nothing new to Tekken. Like, Tekken has always been just like, there's a story there. There's a long overarching story, but like, let's not pretend like shit hasn't been wacky since the first fucking game, bro. You got 86-year-old niggas doing like aerial cartwheels for their attacks, bro. Like, relax, okay? Relax. Scrolling up, we got Gamer Dave 234, a shallow, lackluster fighting game with little to no depth or complexity, fails to impress in any regard. Gameplay is bad, story feels like it was written by AI, online feels like it's from 2009, game crashes repeatedly, a truly awful game. You might be a PC player, as I have not had Tekken 8 crash on me once at all. I play on PS5 mostly. I have it on PC, and anytime I've played it, I've never encountered a crash. Shallow and lackluster, that's just objectively wrong. Tekken is one of the hardest fighting games to play, let alone be good at. Like, there's a whole nother plane of movement that you have to consider. Movement is incredibly important. Neutral is incredibly important. Like Tekken and Virtua Fighter are 2 games where you have to be at least, if we put everything on a scale of 10, where you have to be at least a 6 in every fighting game stat to be decent at. And that's not even like considering top level. I'm talking like from casual up until like hobbyist, like somebody that plays a lot of Tekken like me, you have to be at least a 6 to find any type of success in that game. Like there is no facet of which you can slip and be good at Tekken. You have to have good neutral. You have to have good spacing. Your combos have to be optimal. You have to understand when to sidestep, when to duck highs, when to try and parry lows. The evasiveness that's built into every move, or not every move, but like a lot of moves on your character's move list. And then that's not even getting into like matchup knowledge or understanding pressure or optimal strings, when you can evade out of those. Like there's a lot that goes into that, and it's really all due to the 3D movement, because so much of that ties into it. So that's just wrong. Like it's very rare that I say somebody's just straight up objectively wrong about something. This is one of those times. Fails to impress in any regard. I mean, that's an opinion. I don't think I'd venture to say that Tekken 8 doesn't look bad. So graphically, like I think that's a little bit disingenuous to say that it doesn't impress in any regard. Gameplay is bad. That's an opinion you can have. Story feels like it's written by AI. Again, Tekken story has always been fucking absurd. Online feels like it's from 2009. That's bad user experience on that one. Cause again, what game was it? Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 made me a hardwired purist. Like, I do not play people in games if they're playing on Wi-Fi. Even if they have a 5-bar Wi-Fi connection, I'm just not taking the risk, because it's a radio signal versus a direct connection with an Ethernet cable. I'm just not doing that. Hydration time. You know, you got to keep the good dihydrogen monoxide. Well, moving right along, we have Carl D456. Tekken 8 is a casual button masher, much like its predecessors. Anyone looking for an actual competitive, deep, or complex fighting game, look elsewhere. Again, like if you're losing to mashers, that's a you problem, not a game problem. Because I guarantee you, mashing only feels effective in games like Tekken and Mortal Kombat because there are strings. But like, brother, I guarantee you, backdash, man. Just backdash until you have enough space between you and the masher, and you'll almost never get hit. Like that's not a thing. It's not an excuse. Retrohead 7, no team battle, 0 out of 10. Who the fuck's asking for that? Like, it's team battle's cool, but like, again, who the fuck's asking for that? Like, why would that particular mode being gone just rate the entire game a 0 out of 10? Like, for those of y'all that don't know, Team Battle was a mode that was in the first 3 Tekken games, where it's you pick anywhere from 3 to 5 characters. Your opponent does the same, and then y'all just run the gauntlet, basically. And that was how me and my cousins and friends played a lot of Tekken 2. Like, we would pick our 5 favorite characters and just run that shit down. But like, it's not. I mean, Tekken. It's a far more complicated game today than it was in 1998, bro. Like, that's you're basically having to learn 10 matchups when most of y'all struggle with your one character with the other matchups in the game. Let's be real. Let's be serious. Once again, after Tekken 7, they decided to remove the best offline mode from the game, even though many players were asking for it. I've never seen anybody ask for team battle, and they didn't even bother to reply to them. This seems like you have an issue with the community manager as opposed to the game. Like, this is a very personal complaint. Mighty Puncher says the same tired game re-released with a new coat of paint, extremely dull and shallow gameplay which lacks the depth and complexity of its contemporaries. Story mode and dress up might please casuals for a few hours, but anyone who is looking for a competitive fighting game won't find it here. So it's really similar to the same complaint as the first one. Like, it's a franchise game. I don't know why you came to Tekken 8 expecting whatever you were expecting. Like, I don't like, were you looking for Marvel versus Capcom? Were you looking for King of Fighters in Tekken? Like, what would they have done differently that they didn't do for the other games? We have a new combo extension system with Heat, and of course, I have my gripes with Heat, but I knew what I was getting into with Tekken 8. Why do y'all buy games expecting the experience to be a complete 180 from the series formula? What is this? what is this shit? It lacks the depth and complexity of its contemporaries. This is something that people who aren't really involved in fighting games will say. And the people that are involved in fighting games that say this, say it because I can guarantee you they say it because of the Heat system. Like, I've said it in almost every Tekken 8 video I've made, there's too much armor. And since then they've changed the way that your Heat burst works, because now you can sidestep them. If you do an armored move, when somebody does a Heat burst, it breaks the Heat burst and it's your turn. Supers still have armor, and that shit need to go away because I hate that. But like, saying that Tekken lacks the depth and complexity of other contemporaries, people from other fighting games actively avoid Tekken because it's that difficult to be good at. That's why the people that are good at Tekken are lifelong Tekken players. They don't really venture out into other games, at least competitively, because Tekken takes so fucking much. Like, there's a lot that you have to be good at to be good at Tekken. Street Fighter, as there is depth to Street Fighter, I'm not gonna say Street Fighter's not deep, but out of like the four or five major fighting games, Mortal Kombat's the easiest. Like, I might do that another video because I know I'm gonna piss some of the Mortal Kombat fans off, but like, Mortal Kombat's the easiest fighting game, hands down. Like, it's, as a franchise, y'all got away with X because there was Vortex and the pressure was different, and the combo breakers, like, everything was tied to a lot of meters. So y'all got y'all's one with X, but like, as a franchise, Mortal Kombat's the easiest fighting game franchise to get into and find success at. That's why, like, every tournament there's some runaway champion, unless like the pros like Sonic Fox or Ninja Killer are there. Like, there's always some guy who goes on a crazy run and makes it to top 16 or top 8 every game. Street Fighter is probably above that. If we're talking about strictly 2D complex, King of Fighters. There's not a harder 2D game that isn't anime. There's not a harder 2D fighting game than King of Fighters. Like, and I mean like at mid to top level. Casual level, I respect the casuals. I respect the casual levels. Like, y'all are like the majority base of these games, but there's a lot that goes under the radar in the casual sphere. Like, just there's so much nuance and so much tech that you just will not see at certain levels of gameplay. So like, when people say depth and complexity, I'm like, okay, so who mashed you out and made you think that this was a simple game? Because Tekken is not a simple game at all. It is not. Tekken, Virtua Fighter, King of Fighters, Strive, Guilty Gear is still hard, but Strive is like the casual reboot of the franchise. Go play Rev 2. Go play Plus R. Get fucked. Get fucked on in them games. And then come back and talk about complexity, brother. Like, it's such a nothing complaint, man. Like, oh God. Metatron 1342, uninspired rehash of previous game. Combat is dull, slow, repetitive, and shallow. I've talked about it. I think going forward, I'm just gonna ignore like rehash of previous game. I'm gonna ignore those comments. Same with like the no depth or complexity comments. Like, these are just your personal experiences. And I think I've yapped enough refuting those. Sellwood 2010, Shady MTX, microtransactions, is that what that is? Being added after initial reviews is shady as fuck. Harada lies about reasons behind not adding legacy customs or characters, then releases them in cash shops a week later. So microtransactions, you can feel how you want to feel about those. Like they said up front that like the microtransaction money, the money they make from microtransaction would be used to essentially fix the game and add features and things that people want. Legacy costumes, again, you can feel the way you want to about that. Like I think they're cool. I bought a couple of them, but like it's your money. Like if you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. Like your character is still on the select screen if you don't have Lily's Tekken 5 costume, bro. Like who cares? If you don't want to buy it, don't buy the shit. You can still play the fucking game. It's like lies about customs, they releases them in the cash shop weeks later. That's just PR. Like if somebody asked me, hey, are we gonna get the Tekken 4 costumes for all these characters? Why the fuck would I tell you before getting approval from the team and the company, yes, you're gonna get all the Tekken 4 characters or Tekken 4 costumes? You just see it. Like we can make that announcement when we get to it. Have a little bit of patience. Only one here on February 23rd. This game is a steaming pile of garbage. The greedy developers are charging $70 for this generic 2D game. Every game is $70 nowadays. You can thank Breath of the Tears of the Kingdom of the Wild. You can thank that game for starting that trend, because if y'all will do it for Nintendo, you'll do it for any fucking body. Generic 2D fighting game. The game's not 2D, so you're already wrong. These types of games have been lacking in innovation since the PS3 and 360. They have no business costing $70. 2D fighting devs are too greedy. It's not a 2D game. They have a 5-second animation loop. What does this mean? What is it? They have, like, there's no context to this. They have a 5-second animation loop. Okay. I am sick to death of fighting in front of Chuck E. Cheese animatronics in 2D fighting games. Okay. Are you talking about the background characters? Like the poly counts of the background characters? NBA 2K has better crowds, for goodness. 12 a.m. alarms going off. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Hopefully not. But if you can, that's what that noise is. The fact that sports games have more innovation than 2D fighting games proves how greedy and lazy these developers are. 2K sports games have more fucking innovation. Oh my God, y'all about to piss me off today. Sports games have more innovation than fighting games. Like, brother, this person may not have been there for this era of 2K before they got like super greedy with the monetization, but there was a point in time, like towards the end of the PS2 Xbox era going into the PS3 360 era, where if you owned, let's just say if you owned Madden 2007 or NBA 2K7, you could pay $10 and update the roster in that game without having to purchase the game. That's how little shit changed in between those games. And so much so that they were like, hey, we could probably make more money if we just stop doing that and sell niggas the game. And y'all keep buying it. Like, I don't play sports games, but like somebody that does, what has changed so drastically in a 2K or a Madden that just completely reworks how the game is played? Like, genuine question. What the hell has changed in the football game that makes it so that football has just been reinvented? Get at me on that, because like y'all about to piss me off with this shit. And don't even get me started with the llamas. They walk around in predetermined path. Like, this is a troll review. This has got to be a troll review. He's talking about the llamas in one of the stages, in the Peru stage. They don't even react when you beat up your opponent right in front of them. Yes, they do. Nor can you beat up the llamas. Of course not. Why would you? It's a fighting game, not a llama beat up game. They bounce when you hit them or when y'all run into them, but like, that's it. 2010 Red Dead Redemption 1 has better animal behavior because it's an open world game. Gameplay is boring and repetitive. That's an opinion. When I pay $70, I expected a combat system with depth and detail. That's what you got. It's not an open world game, so you're not going to get that shit. All the developers did in this game is put pretty lights during every move. Talk about the hit effects that have been there since Tekken 1 to give players the illusion that the game is fun. This is a perfection ass review. Matter of fact, y'all that have been on this channel like within the last month, y'all know who that is. I should check on that, man. Has anyone else noticed the recent inflation on critic scores lately? Ever since I called these game critics out on their hypocrisy in my Tears of the Kingdom review, many franchises got their scores inflated, starting with Street Fighter 6. This isn't a coincidence. I know you critics read my review. I said that these critics had the audacity to virtue signal over studios crunching, even though they're the main reason why crunch exists, because every studio has to work 100 times harder than Nintendo to get a 90 score on Metacritic. Where are we going? This isn't even about Tekken anymore. I just read like 3 sentences that don't even mention Tekken, bro. What the fuck? Critics used to crucify games for lack of innovation, but now a copy-paste Tekken 7 is getting a 90 score. You are crazy as fuck if you think Tekken 7 and Tekken 8 are at all similar in form or function. Holy shit. This goes on. I'm not reading that. Yeah, that's a thing. This person, a very good game, but added microtransaction and in-game currency after the release. That constitutes a 0. So apparently they don't like any game. But again, man, if you don't like a game, that's your prerogative. If you like a game, that's your prerogative. What I do on this channel is not berate people. I don't berate people for their opinions. I berate the opinions themselves, because a lot of these people are in the same circles. So before the internet, before social media, people with dumb takes didn't bother saying them out loud because they didn't have a group of people with the same dumb takes agreeing with them that they're right. And Metacritic is just, it's a content wellspring because you get people like this on every single game. And I'm glad that I did this series because all of y'all are saying the same exact thing. And some of it is an opinion. If it's an opinion, that's what I do. I'll say, hey, that's an opinion, man. You got it. But like, to say that these things exist or don't exist when Tekken 8 is a tangible game. Like, anybody can boot this shit up and see that what y'all are saying is objectively fucking wrong. And that's just the goal anytime I do this. Like, I'm not criticizing people. I don't go after people unless they go after me. I am always criticizing the opinions. So like, I just a little bit of clarification. Again, talk to me, man. Talk to me in the comments. Do you like Tekken 8? Do you hate Tekken 8? Were the microtransactions enough for you to stop playing Tekken 8? Are you mad that like they won't give you that one Tekken 1 costume for Jack 8 in this game? Let me know, bro. I'm just here. I'm just here and I'm just a dude with an internet connection. Peace.